Hello and welcome to the Gooner Talk, back again with you guys for another episode of our Arsenal preview series, our show in which we look ahead to the next Arsenal fixture with some of the members from the Discord server. Very happy to be joined this morning, this afternoon, this evening, wherever you happen to be in the world, by Dan. How you doing, mate? You good? You well? Good to make your debut on the show?
Yeah, nervous, but I'm good. Thank you very much.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine, mate. And it was a pleasure to meet you last night, along with plenty of others as well. You had a great time, enjoyed the show in East North London?
Yeah, really good evening. East London. You almost sent me to the wrong location.
Yeah, I know.
It was all right. No, really good evening.
I kept thinking it was north, but it was definitely east.
To be fair, it's one road that separates it, so you're all right. But yeah, no, really good evening. It was great to be there, and I was very grateful to sort of see everybody in person and catch the vibe that everyone was giving off. So yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was absolute pleasure, and thank you so much for coming along, as well as plenty of others. And I'm sure people joining us in the chat box today as well. Thank you so much, everybody that did come along last night to our live show. It was a great experience, raised a lot of money, and I've now got to buy one of our listeners an Arsenal shirt as one of the prizes, but that's going to be happening very soon. We're also joined by Simon. How are you doing, Simon? There's a couple of connectivity issues, but I know that hopefully after 2 seconds you should be able to hear what I say. So you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm very well, thanks, mate. Yeah, there is a bit of a delay, which is a bit annoying, but like you say earlier, it has improved by about 5 seconds to 2 seconds. So yeah, getting there slowly, but it's all good, mate.
Indeed. No, thank you so much. We will muddle through without too much of a problem. It should be absolutely fine. Let's talk about tomorrow. Of course, this preview we usually try and do the preview like 2 or 3 days before the game, but with, of course, a midweek game happening, that became very tricky. So we now kind of have a really good idea, actually, about kind of the team, where it's at. What's interesting in the team news that we have right now is that Ødegaard, Ramsdale, and Zinchenko have all travelled to Manchester, which is obviously fantastic news. I will temper people's expectations about Zinchenko in particular. As I tweeted, I feel like this man could have frostbite and he'd still be on the touchline. So don't just anticipate he's going to be in the squad just because he's gone. I think it would have taken something quite extraordinary to stop this man travelling with the team, even if he is injured. So it's good news that he's there. Hopefully there's kind of a symbol that he might be available. But Dan, this must come as a big boost with Ramsdale and Ødegaard in particular.
100%. As you can see from my selection, I kind of anticipated Ødegaard not being present. But it's good news to see that he is present, because he seems to be like the metronome of the team at the moment. And that's all we can really want. You want your best team going to Old Trafford, and especially with the way that they're getting loud at the moment, we want to pipe them down a little bit. So hopefully we'll go there and do something.
Yeah, I hope that we do, because obviously we've got a great chance to not only take 3 points at Old Trafford, which will be the first time since Arteta did it 2 years ago, and that was the first time since I think 2006. So in the league in particular, so it would be a big win. Not only that, it would take us 4 points clear, which is just saying that 6 games into the start of the season is just silly. But it is the reality of the situation. Simon, how difficult is it to not get carried away right now?
Yeah, it is quite difficult, to be honest. It's something that I'm trying not to think about too much. But, I mean, if you just compare this season to last season, you can't help but just be excited by the fact that, like you say, we're going to be 4 points ahead if we were to win tomorrow. And we'll be, I think, is it 9 points ahead of Chelsea or Liverpool? Something crazy like that as well.
Possibly,
so just, yeah. So it's absolutely mental to think if that's the case. Obviously, it's a marathon. There's a hell of a long way to go. But to be where we are at this point in the season, I can't help but be chuffed. But yeah, we just have to sort of take, I know it's a bit of a cliche, it's the old football cliche, just to sort of take each game by game, but it's all we can do really. But we're in a good place, definitely in a good place.
We really are, yeah. I mean, it started so positively in contrast to last season, where we lost the first 3 games and really had to turn things around. I mean, Dan, is it just as simple as adding Zinchenko and Jesus to starting and Saliba coming back, of course? Is it that simple that we went from 3 really bad opening games? Of course, Chelsea and Man City were involved as well. But 3 players coming into the starting lineup and changing the fortunes a year later, was it really that simple, or has more gone on that I'm not alluding to?
Well, to be fair, I think towards the end of last season, we were saying that we needed those extra couple of players to give us the boost to be at a level, and bringing those 3, 1 in and 2 in and 1 back, it does propel the team forward. It doesn't mean we're perfect, but at least it gives you a nice foundation to build off of. And at least now that the process of bringing in one or two every window now is a possibility, because now we've lost so many of the fringe players, and genuinely, I haven't seen a bench that you could call upon, even 5 out of 6, 5 out of 7, to say they're going to do something. I actually feel confident that someone will come from the bench and do something, even if it is Eddie. Eddie's coming on and showing he's got a hunger to be on that pitch, and what more could you want?
Yeah, Eddie in particular is a really interesting player, because when we were talking about I did a piece the other day talking kind of about the options we have. I think it might have been this morning actually, about if Ødegaard isn't there, what options do we have? Yeah. Obviously, Smith Rowe comes in, and we'll talk about kind of that possibility with the lineups in a second. The other one is Fabio Vieira, although I doubt that we'd throw him in to make his debut in this particular fixture. That would be quite a big ask. And then the third option is to go with a 3 at the back, change the system, take out the number 10, and move Saka into potentially a wing back kind of role, move Jesus to the right, and put Nketiah up top. And that doesn't scare me doing that either, because as you said there, Dan, Nketiah's energy, what he's brought to the bench, the Fulham game in particular, when he came off the bench for Tierney, I think it was at the time, he was electric when he came off, and was really unlucky not to get a goal in that game. It was a left-footed strike, I think, that just went past the post, that had it gone in would have been one of the best equalisers I think we've seen. Would have been absolutely brilliant. But Simon, Man United have had a really strange start to the season. They lost their opening 2 games in comical fashion. We all enjoyed that greatly. But they have found a way to somehow string 3 unlikely victories together against Southampton, a really poor Liverpool team at the time, and a dreadful Leicester City team. They have got momentum. Should we be concerned about Man United, or should we still be looking at them as a side that can be got at and should be winnable against?
I mean, that's why I'm trying not to get carried away too much, is because, like you say, Man United aren't the Man United of old. They're are having a bit of a sort of bitty season. So although we're only 5 games in, like you say, the start of their season isn't the greatest, but it is United, and it is something that we have to be wary of. And it's an away game at Old Trafford. That's a bit of a, although they lost their sort of first game against Brighton, it can still be a fortress, especially in these big games, especially against Arsenal. So I have that bit of a concern at the back of my head, but I think if we sort of look back at the transfer window, I know we haven't sort of brought it up yet, but a lot of sort of Arsenal fans are losing their heads that we're not necessarily reinforced as well as we could have done. But if you sort of compare where we were last January and where the squad is to where we are now, it's like sort of chalk and cheese. So what gives me the confidence is the squad going in, the sort of players that we've got, the addition of Jesus, the addition of Saliba. That gives me a hell of a lot of confidence going into this game. And I'm a little bit wary of Man United, but in a sense I'm more confident that we've got enough to sort of take them on.
Tarbs in the chat box says Paul Tierney is the referee. He's from Salford, Greater Manchester, and VAR is Lee Mason from Bolton, Greater Manchester. It's 13 against 11. I mean, today, Dan, we've seen some pretty ridiculous, again, officiating decisions. In the West Ham game, how Bowen, of course, in that moment with that goal, the Van Dijk tackle on, I think it was Onana. It was awful, the decision making, and yet again we go into a game where potentially we're going to be seeing some pretty crazy decisions because the officiating consistency is awful. So talk to me about how you're kind of feeling about that.
Well, to be fair, I didn't catch most of the bad decisions there, apart from I think the Reece James kick out and then the disallowed goal for West Ham. And
the Reece James one, yeah, of course.
Yeah. And we go into this game, it's either going to go in our favour or it's not. And the thing is, they're saying they're all from Salford, they're all from up them ends. I think one of them was reported as being a Man United fan growing up. But if we use that as a reason to be pessimistic for the game, we're just going to bring that sort of energy into the game from the outside in. So we might as well just look at it and go, look, they're either going to make a good call or they're not. But if they make a bad call against us, I'm going to be upset. But hopefully it won't be against us. It'll be De Gea spilling something and given away a penalty and it just come off his hair or something like that. Hopefully.
Yeah. I mean, do you think what can be done? Do you think enough is done with like the poor officiating levels? And if you don't think it is, what needs to happen?
To be fair, there just needs to be a consistent standard, doesn't there? Like if they're going to bring officials into the box to do the VAR, they've got to at least make the calls when they're happening and make the right calls, because it seems to be that they're constantly looking at the rule book and going, well, it could be under that rule, it could be under that rule, so it's under none, so we'll just allow it to go past. Whereas though some of the calls you can see as a fan watching football, they should be called. Right. And if that's going to change the game, it is what it is. Like even Liverpool's game the other night, wasn't it? 5 minutes extra time, went to 97.5 minutes and then they scored. But it doesn't matter if they're in the ascendancy attacking, like the time is gone. It's done.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Look, there's a question here from Ayush who says, Tom, I'm actually most concerned about the hyena Pogba. What? The hyena Pogba? What is this? Is this the witch doctor thing that's came out? This is ridiculous. Just hope it costs a counter hex to resurrect it so that it can chase after Eriksen and Bruno. This is crazy, Ayush. I mean, you've been reading into too many conspiracies, mate. I mean, what real, and I use the word real very realistically here, threats are we really going to have to watch out for?
I'm confused by that comment there, to be honest. I think the biggest threat for me, I mean, it seems like Anthony's going to start, and I think that's a little bit of a worry. It's going to be his first game. He's going to be pumped up and be super excited. Yeah, he's a bit of a concern for me. Just their forward line. I mean, it's quite aggressive, and Ten Hag likes them to sort of press and play those cheeky little triangles around as much as they possibly can. So yeah, I think the forward line, Rashford seems to have sort of caught another sort of fresh breath of confidence, if you will, and he seems to be playing quite well lately. So yeah, I think Rashford and Anthony are the ones for me that I would say we kind of have to look out for.
Yeah, Anthony is going to be an interesting kind of fit for Arsenal on Sunday. How he comes on, how he plays, when he plays, if he plays, all of those things. Lisandro Martinez is a bit of a narrative, Dan, for Arsenal as well. I put his actual size in the thumbnail for today's show, but that's not been a problem, in the last couple of games. To be fair, when the ball's on the floor and you aren't going up against teams that are crossing the ball into the box, he tends to do really, really well. And that probably leans into United having a very good game defensively against Arsenal, because we keep the ball on the floor and we play where we play. Ødegaard likes to play a couple of chip passes over the top sometimes, which potentially is a bit of a threat for United if Ødegaard is indeed fit. But is this kind of narrative, the Lisandro Martinez, not revenge, because he's not got anything to revenge, but you know what I mean? There's a narrative there with him there.
Well, look, it's strength versus strength, isn't it? So his strength is on the floor, ball to feet, but it doesn't matter. It comes to him in the air, on the floor, he's going for it. And if it's going to draw him or Varane, because I'm sure Maguire ain't playing, although I would love to see him play instead. If Varane's playing, it gives him a bit of cover, doesn't it? So Lisandro can go forward into the space and pick up the ball. But the way that we play as well, it's not like we don't have that triangle ability as well. Jesus gets it, lays it off, gets in behind. Then it is literally him versus whoever's in front of him. And the little terrier that he is can kick out his ankles all day long. He will just go down and win fouls. And then on the opposite end, we've got a calm, assured defence. So it's only going to be in our favour if we play composed.
Absolutely. I'm not going to talk about Lukonga just yet, Simon, because obviously he features quite heavily in our lineup selection. But the other player that I think we need to focus on a lot is kind of this. If it is going to be Ødegaard that's out, the creativity in the team, there is a question about that, And there's also a question that I want to ask you about Ødegaard is that, say he's, 50-50. I talked about this a little bit this morning on the 8 a.m. show. If he is 50-50, is it a benefit to Arsenal to not take that risk of potentially seeing Ødegaard get injured for a longer period of time, missing for a few more games, and bring in, say, a Smith Rowe or a Vieira, or doing the system change that I talked about earlier? Or is this such an important game and such an opportunity to get 3 points at United that you would take that 50-50 risk with a player?
I think Dan brought it up earlier. He is like a sort of metronomic player for Arsenal, and he's such a crucial piece. I think last season, sort of the abilities of ESR and Ødegaard were a lot closer. I think Smith Rowe was, pretty much on a par in a way for his ability. He was, he was banging in the goals as well as Ødegaard was. But I mean, Ødegaard now he's more than just a goal scorer. He's given us that side of the game as well. He's obviously contributing goals wise, but I just think Ødegaard he's become so crucial for the way that we play, and he's gone just levels above where he was. So I would take the gamble. It might be a big risk, but I would take it just because it's so huge for our possibilities of winning the game and controlling the game, and just bringing in the 3 points.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's go to the lineups. Dan, we'll start with yours, mate. Talk us through why you've gone with this selection.
Well, mine was based on not knowing Ødegaard travelled, so I thought swapping him out for Smith Rowe would have been the best alternative. Him being able to carry the ball and drive past their midfield would have been the main thing. And with Xhaka playing that sort of higher role now, it only adds to the fact we've got another runner going in behind. So if we haven't got Ødegaard picking out people, we've got someone who's going to carry it and drive it into space, which in effect probably will pull Martinez out, because he's going to have to come to that little space now and come and try and win the ball before he turns and runs into space. But the rest of the team, I think, kind of picks itself based on form and availability. With Zinchenko not available, the back four is what we had last year, bar Saliba. So,
Tomiyasu coming in, is that to give White a rest?
I think I don't even know if I thought White, Zinchenko and Ødegaard were all doubts, even Ramsdale. But the thing is,
I saw there were rumours about White. My understanding is that's not the case. Then that was kind of overhyped a bit, and that there wasn't an issue with White. But I mean, still we've played White every start this season. We've had a midweek game. Is there an argument that maybe bringing Tomiyasu in as a more fresher leg to go up against, say, Jadon Sancho is potentially better?
Yeah, I think physically he will probably be a bit stronger on him as well. But I know Ben White's positioning is like key to his game. He reads the game very well. But it also adds that balance back to the team, where you go back to 3 at the back and Tierney can sort of push a bit further up, which then takes Dalot out of the game a little bit, pushes him a bit further back, because he seems to be their main attacking outlet at the moment, getting down that right and sort of pinging the ball across. So if it means we can counter them with that sort of selection, I'd happily go ahead with it if White's not available. And
you've gone with Lokonga as your star man for the game. You're expecting another big performance from him?
I think he's going to raise his game tomorrow. I think that what we saw of him the other day, it showed that maybe after the all or nothing, getting told to pipe down a little bit because he weren't playing has kind of humbled him ever so slightly. But it is a case of, he looked very composed and assured on the ball. He looked like he was happy picking up the ball with his back to everyone and turning, and whether it be on his left or right foot, he was picking out whoever he needed to pick out and then just went back to his position. So I'm hoping that him being my star man pick is because I think he's going to have the better of their midfield, whether it be Fred or McTominay or whoever, but I think he's going to do them tomorrow, and I hope so. I hope he does it.
Other than Smith Rowe, Simon, you've brought in the exact same team as well. Talk us through your selection, mate.
Yeah, I mean, it's not much of a change. Obviously, it depends on whether Ødegaard or Ramsdale. I had their sort of doubts that they were going to play, but obviously the news has come out that they are going to be starting. So, not definitely starting, but there's a good chance that they'll be playing. With Tomiyasu, the sort of debate that you were just having now between Tomiyasu and White, I think with White, he's a fantastic player, and that sort of partnership that he's built with Gabriel Saliba as that sort of back three connection has been immense. But it was the fact that he just came off at sort of around about the 60-minute mark in the last game that just gives me a sort of inclination that he's perhaps a little bit, I don't know what the right word is here, but maybe a little bit rusty. So I think just having Tomiyasu to sort of, for sort of rotational purposes, just bringing Tomiyasu in and just helping the sort of freshness of the whole squad. And Tomiyasu is a fantastic player as well. He's a brilliant right back, and maybe he pushes forward a little bit more, like Dan was sort of saying. And I think he's although I think White has got a couple of assists this season already, am I right in saying, or at least one assist?
He set
which is
up.
really good.
He set up
But,
that goal against who was it? Bournemouth, where he crossed in and Gabriel Jesus took the touch, and then Ødegaard slammed it in. So he didn't get the assist for it. I'm trying to think if he got an assist elsewhere. Was he crossing? He crossed the ball in the box against, I think it was Leicester, and the ball dropped to Xhaka, and then Xhaka scored. So I'm just going off the top of my head, but I think they're the moments that mattered.
Yeah, I think that's what I was thinking of. But I think, even with that, I think Tomiyasu still tends to sort of cross the ball a little bit more, and he tends to sort of, bomb into that sort of deep flank space a bit more. So, yeah, maybe that, so if you just sort of look at it tactically, he does offer you a little bit more, whereas Ben White, I think, is better defensively. So it just, it depends in which way sort of Arteta wants to set up tomorrow. But to be honest, I'm sort of picking between hairs, really, between who to actually play, because they're just so good. And that kind of gives me a lot of confidence in the squad that we've got now, that we can just rotate between these players, because, we didn't have this last season. So it's it's a real great benefit to have.
It is, absolutely. Let's go to Spaceman Trooper in the chat, who says Zinchenko has travelled with the squad. Thanks for the donation. Partying emoji in regards to Zinchenko playing. That just him being there is a big boost, from kind of a morale perspective. He's clearly such a leader within that dressing room. He's the captain of Ukraine at times when he's playing there, and carrying that burden for that nationality in particular, as we all know right now, is in itself just something quite special. And I think he's brought that maturity into the team. He's got a head well beyond his years, I think, on his shoulders, and I think we've benefited a lot from his guidance. So if he is fit, which fingers crossed he might be, then it's going to be a big boost to us tomorrow. Let's go to mine. I mean, mine's no different to Simon's, or to be honest, to Dan's either. I think we all said that if Ødegaard's fit, he starts. If not, I think Smith Rowe is probably the most likely to come in. If not, all of us, the first time on the preview show this season that everyone's gone for the same predicted five-star player. That might be out of pure prayer to hope that he's fantastic, because we really do need him to be. If he isn't, then we are going to struggle. He's got a big game. I remember that game at Anfield last season when we lost 4-0 and he was in the midfield, and he didn't have the best of games alongside Tavares as well. And those two in particular were kind of found out in that fixture. So I'm hoping that a year on, we've seen some growth. And I think if the game against Aston Villa is anything to go by, then Lokonga is definitely going to be in for a good performance. I would be tempted to swap out White for Tomiyasu to give Tomiyasu a more fresher leg, up against Jadon Sancho. That's going to be tough. Tierney, of course, gives us, I think, a little bit more defensively than Zinchenko does too. I think it's going to be a game where United will have a fair amount of possession, but that actually on the counter, there's going to be really good opportunities to hit them. But they are quite bad. Just flatly and bluntly, United aren't very good. Even after their last 3 wins, they don't inspire confidence. Speaking to United friends of mine, whilst they think that there's potential for them to get a result in this game, because you never know when Arsenal come to Old Trafford, they aren't convinced by what they've seen, even with the 3 victories. They haven't been like major turnarounds by any shape or form. So hopefully Arsenal can take the earnest and go into this game and get a good result. We're going to go to predictions now. So chat box is your opportunity to get your score lines into the chat. Dan, we'll start with you. Give us a score line and your scorers, please.
All right. I'm going to go with 2-1 us. I genuinely think I think Xhaka's going to get one. Xhaka's going to get one, and I think Saka's going to pull his first one out of the bag to kind of propel his season forward a little bit until he gets rotated out or something. But
you do feel like he's a goal away, isn't he? From
he is. You can see he's had so many near misses that he just needs to hit the back of the net once, and then you're going to see him flying down that wing again, full of confidence. And he just looks deflated. I don't think he's tired in terms of he's got no energy. He's just deflated. He's probably trying too hard to get that goal, to get him off and running. So now if he gets it, and there's all the opportunity in the world, especially with the wingers coming forward and him getting into that space, I hope he gets it, honestly, and I hope Xhaka gets one just so he can do his little
He does like a goal against United, does Xhaka?
does.
You know, he scored a couple of them. So yeah, it's on the cards. Zamir says, Tom, they're never good, United. We are just worse at Old Trafford. We don't have a good record there. It has to be said. We somehow find, I think I've called ourselves a rehabilitation machine. What's it called? A defibrillator. That's what we can sometimes be, you know, for United. We just bring them back to life, and it's really frustrating. Dan's going for a 3-0 Arsenal win. He's going 2-1. Julian says 2-0 Arsenal. Spaceman Trooper says 3-0 because Zinchenko is going to start. Ramsey says 2-1 with Saka and Jesus on the score sheet. Error Hart goes for 3-1 and Bro Pro 98 goes for 3-1. Simon, what are you going for, fella? You're on mute at the moment, mate. Which is even worse when it's on delay.
Schoolboy error. I do apologise. No, I'm going to be really boring here and just go with...
That's me. It's just a delay. Go on.
No,
this is really bad now. It's like, I'm going for an award this year and I'm like messing this up completely. Go on, Simon. Keep going, my friend.
It's gotten worse. Sorry, Tom. Yeah, no, I was just saying that, you know, I'm going to be boring here and I'm just going to go for the same as Dan and just say a 2-1 win to us. I just think that, you know, we've got enough to do them. My mind was saying 1-1 earlier, but, you know, after this chat that we've been having, I really feel a lot more optimistic and I just think we've got enough to beat them.
Fair play. I love the optimism. Anthony says 2-2, which is the scoreline I've gone for. You know, I don't want to be the negative one, and I usually really never am. But I did say 2-2 after the Villa game, and I have to kind of stick with that for the Arsenal Lounge's prediction algorithm that we're doing this season. Once again, the loser of the Arsenal Lounge algorithm or prediction league, I suppose, will have to outlay 200 quid on a meal for all four of us. So I really don't want to lose, but 2-2 is quite safe. I still think score draw is a really likely result in this one. I think goals will go in. I think both the teams can easily concede. So we'll see what happens. Lara going for a 3-0 win. Clockwork Tangerine going for a 2-0. Come on, you Gooners. Bob Smith says 3-1 Arsenal. Un says 3-1. Surf says 4-1 Arsenal. Fantastic stuff. Blige says 1-1 and Lewis says 2-1. I'll continue to throw up your predictions, hoping. I love this. Paul Tierney, man of the match performance for Manchester United. Potentially, that is what happened. I'll continue to throw out some of your predictions as we round off the show. Dan, thank you so much for coming on the show, my friend. Really great to meet you yesterday and again today. Tell people where they can find you and what you're going to be up to.
Well, I'm not really active in the content creation aspect yet. I am literally in the process of starting my own gaming channel. So once that's up and running, I will happily jump back on again and throw it out there. But at this moment, it's just me doing me. So sorry, everyone.
No, Dan, you can find Dan in our Discord server if you would like to chat to him. Dan is very active. He's one of the most active members in there. If you look for Alpha, you'll find him. But yeah, brilliant stuff. Thanks, mate. Simon, thank you so much for coming on the show. Appreciate your time as always. Apologies for the slight connection issues we've had, but we've managed to get through to the end.
Me, I apologise for that.
Tell people where to find you.
Thanks
for having me on. Again. It's happening again.
Oh, it's a mare. Yeah, no, thanks for having us on again, Tom, and it's a pleasure to meet you as well, Dan. It's it's great to finally put a face to a name as well, mate. So it's fantastic. But yeah, people can find me at the Football Fan Force, aka the Triple F. We just have sort of quizzes, football chats on there. We talk about player profiles. We look at club profiles and whatnot. So it's a good laugh. And yeah, if you come check it out, that'd be fantastic. I'm literally 3 subscribers away from 100. So if you can help us out with that would be absolutely brilliant.
Lovely stuff. I'm literally just typing it in now to make sure that I can find it. Here we go. Leaving a link to Simon's channel in the chat box. I need to do it on YouTube, otherwise StreamYard blocks me because it hates promoting other channels for some reason. I'll throw that into the chat box. Let's see if we can get Simon up to 100 subscribers. It only is 3 of you, so just 3 of you go to that link and subscribe. Please. We'll get Simon to 100 subs. Yeah, that's the Football Fan Force. Lots of brilliant stuff. I've been on it, so I can even vouch for it. But yeah, do go and subscribe. A massive thank you to Simon and Dan once again. Thank you for you listeners for tuning in and enjoying the content as always. Genuinely blown away by the support on this morning's 8 a.m. show, by the way. I was obviously expecting a bit of a dip in viewership because, you know, deadline day has happened, transfer window is over. But still amazing retention of the audience, and that's because of you guys clearly loving the channel and loving the content, which I have to be a massive thankful person for. So thanks for that. Do drop a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. There won't be a show after the game tomorrow because I'm going to be at the game. There will be an 8 a.m. show tomorrow talking about more kind of fallout into the lead up of the game, and then on Monday morning, that's when the reaction to the game will be at 8 a.m. So there'll be shows tomorrow and on Monday, all at 8 a.m., but nothing directly after the game. If you do want content straight after the game, make sure you head over to the Arsenal Way, because there should be something somewhere doing something there with Bailey or Chris or someone. So do tune in for that. We will see you again very, very soon. Thank you for tuning in as always. And as always, up the Arsenal.